So one of the things that I ran into when I was younger, I read this book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye, and it literally made me not date anybody. And it was the magic partner that would come along because God had supplied them. Now, I've heard stuff like this before, but from an inexperienced child who was made to feel guilty for having any kind of relationships outside of my family ones, I did not date very many people. And so getting into relationships after that, I did not have the smarts that I needed. And I noticed that a lot of younger people don't have the smarts to navigate relationships in a way that's healthy for them and that won't be so traumatic. And that's the thing. It's like, so when you, hold on just a second. Anyway, so the foundation for a healthy relationship. So one of the things that you run into when you are used to narcissistic abuse is the kind of relationship that you have when you, it's very unhealthy. So, and the reason it's very unhealthy is because you start feeling very insecure about that relationship. Like very insecure. So you're going to have all kinds of issues. And then because of that, they're going to play into your insecurities, and it's going to feel like you're going to lose them if you don't keep an eye on them 100% of the time. And it's almost like you take on this babysitting gig, but you're babysitting your significant other. Instead of having any kind of trust, they're demolishing that trust left and right with the things that they say or the things that they do. And the way that they do this is through making you really insecure about the connection. Because when we're insecure about a connection, we're going to do whatever we can. We're going to overwork it to death until we find what it is that we, until it equals itself out, it balances. And if it never does balance, all you do is chase. And so to be in that energy, what starts to happen is isolation. You start following this person around nonstop. You don't keep your connections that you need in order to stay healthy. The people that are in your life that are important, you stop talking to them because you are so busy worried about what that other person is doing. And so you stop having a life outside of this relationship, and it becomes very, 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 very like codependent. And the way that they do that, so what that does to you is that makes it to where it's harder and harder and harder for you to leave. Isolation. You start self-isolating because you're embarrassed that they don't love you like you thought they would. Or they've made you feel really bad and you don't feel like you measure up. And then you feel like you can't spend time outside of it because you're going to lose them, or they're going to go off and do something that hurts you. And it becomes really, really, it's almost obsessive. You become obsessive about it, and that's not good. But after that, what happens is that you continuously like isolate and isolate and isolate some more. And then after that happens, you start having a smaller and smaller group that you can go to if you have any problems. And that's good because the narcissist doesn't want anybody to know that that's what's happening. They don't want you to have anybody outside of y'all. They want you to be very codependent. They want you to be where they can keep you as a supply, and that nobody will see the bad that's happening on the inside. They'll only see the good exterior that's being presented. And so you just lose people, you lose connections, you lose all kinds of things, and then you're alone. Now, some of the things that I have experienced whenever I felt very, very isolated was low battery. Always. Anyway, so it's this feeling of not being good enough. And the depression that goes along with that is something big. So you have to be careful because eventually you have nobody, and one of the worst things that you can do in a relationship is only have that person. You need other people. You need a community more than, and so a healthy relationship is going to foster that, whereas an unhealthy one is going to like suck you in to where you have nobody but them. So you have to be very careful. And so if you're in that situation, you're going to run into depressive symptoms because you're going to be trying to get all of your needs met through one person. And they're not going to be willing to meet your needs because they're narcissistic and they're worried about themselves more than they are about you. And so then what do? You tend to self-medicate, or you tend to get into deep depressions, or you tend to start bedrotting. You start not functioning on a normal level. You get so anxious that you can't stand it. It's like you can't live outside of the anxiety. And that is the most traumatic part. And that's where your CPTSD starts developing. Because your body is in survival mode nonstop. Because you are so anxious that this person is going to hurt you. Because they've already hurt you. So you feel like you have to watch them. And it's exhausting. Here's what I'm going to say. That is not love. Nothing about that situation is love. Everything about that situation is supply, narcissistic, codependent, all very toxic, very unhealthy. And what that does is that isolates you from your whole community, and you're going to lose friendships that way, and that shouldn't be how it goes. Some friendships do need to go because they're the toxic people, but the friendships that are healthy in your life beforehand, if you're losing everybody, that's a sign. Being isolated is very bad. It's not good for you. You need to have a community outside of whoever it is that you're with. You need to have people that you can go to. You need to have things that you do outside of each other. You have to, or it gets to be very, very codependent. And that's part of it. It's learning to be independent, but together. And that's the hardest. But for anybody who's going through this, I'm going to tell you, make a connection, make a friend, and don't be embarrassed about what's happening to you because it shouldn't be happening to you. Stop being embarrassed about it. Reach out for help when you need it, because that may be the thing that saves you. Make connections, make friends, do things outside of to where you can forget about all of the micromanaging that you feel like you have to do so that you don't get hurt. Anyway, I hope y'all are good. I am winning at life today. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later.